Hello everyone. Just a quick update on the under 1,000 subscriber group build. Once again, my entry is a 69 Dodge Daytona Charger. Haven't got a lot done, but I have got some done. I 3D printed an engine. You're going to probably see a couple engines here. This is the first one I printed. You look, it turned out really well, except right here on the oil pan, I had it sitting on the bilge plate like this at a 30-degree angle, and right at the bottom edge of the oil pan, it kind of globbed up. So, and everything else turned out great. Like, if you look, the transmission, this is the front end of the engine with pulleys, the supercharger, that's the supercharger cover, main air intake, worked great. Except for that. So I printed it again. Actually, yeah, it was standing, like a 30-degree angle like that. So I printed it a second time, and this is it here. Actually, the first one I had two problems. It kind of, inside the recess where it connects to the back of the engine, it was a little built up there. I raised the supports on this one a little bit. I think I went with 8mm long supports, and I angled it the other way. So if you can see the front of this engine, there's the groove in the oil pan. It worked out really good. You can see the butterfly in the throttle body. It worked really well. But I had it angled backwards this time, so at the back of the engine, so around the flywheel side. And it did the same, but not quite as bad. It built up a little bit here, so I just filed it out and cleaned it, and it worked fine, but it kind of bothered me a little bit. I mean, everything else worked great. Look at the two different, sets of the block. So you've got the long tube kind of hot rod headers, and then you've got the the normal short headers. Anyway, it still kind of bugged me. So I printed it a third time. That would be this guy. Everything worked out great. No issues with the transmission. And I angled it once again to the back of the engine, but I went 30-30. So I angled it 30 degrees this way and 30 degrees this way. So it was kind of leaning on its side. And if you can see the detail on that side of the block, I mean, it looks good. But you turn it over, and look right there. A little bit of a build up there and there. No problem, I can fix that. It's still usable. I mean, I'm not selling them, so I can fix that and you'll never see it. But it still bothered me. So I printed it again. I have two different printers. I have Mars 3, which printed all these. This is my older printer, and it's set up pretty good. But every now and again I see globs at the back end. I still haven't figured it out. But if anybody knows what it is, let me know. I've slowed down the lift speed, and I have increased the support height. What I'm thinking it is, the resin doesn't have enough time to move after, you dip the next layer. That's what I think it is. It's not heat or anything like that, because it's in a room with its own heat, and it's turned up pretty high. So anyway, I printed them again, but all of these were pointed at 0.01 millimeter layer height, pretty fine. So I printed it on the Mars 3 again, but at 0.05. Now I'm gonna hope it can show it, but yeah, you'll see the little dimples down here on the oil pan. Those are the supports. That'll all sand out. But that's the block detail. I mean, it turned out good. So once again, 30 and 30. So that's why you see the supports here, but the back of the engine turned out good. That's where that's the front of the engine where the timing chain housing goes on, and then that's the back where the transmission mounts. So it turned out really good. And this resin is Soraya Tech Tenacious Smoky Gray ABS-like resin. So this is really good. Now, I printed it on the Saturn and the Saturn II. I haven't really got it set up. Like I just got it not long ago, and I did the same thing, 30 and 30 at 0.05, and it turned out really good too. So I'll use these 2 blocks instead of 2 of the other ones, but it worked out well. That's the same. The Saturn is what printed these rims and tires I'm going to use on it. The rims and the tires for the back worked out really well. The front tires didn't. Like I said, I'm just still doing some figuring, so I printed them on my Mars 3. Nice detail. Those are the cross ribs inside. So, and then some brake discs that I had printed on the Mars 3 a while ago. I got probably about 30 or something of them. I'd build them and kind of put them. That's mounted in the back of the rim. So that's what I'm going to be using for rims and tires. So those are the engines. I cleaned up the seats. The seats are, really nice and detailed. I got this all sanded down well and filled, and I kind of grooved or cleaned out the lines a little bit on the edge of the seat. They're ready to go. The headrests are in a bag over here with some more of the body panels. There's the headrests there. They're all glued together and cleaned up. I have the body sanded and the vents for the top of the wheels put on. They're vents, and I think they're cutouts because the wheels actually sit high up in them. And in NASCAR, I think if I've got it right, they use them for extra clearance. But anyway, so that's all clean. And I started to scribe out the lines really good. I've got them all scribed out. And I was kicking around the idea of cutting them open. Now, in the first video, you might have noticed that the nose cone was kind of cut up. That would be because I don't want to tilt it too much because I only have them pinned up there. But I flipped the headlight, or I cut out the headlights, and I made them flip. Sorry. Trying to do this with one hand, but anyway, so as you can see, they're going to go up and down. So I built the inside for them. They're not going to be 100% detailed or accurate. They'll be detailed, but I'm going to put just some clear lenses in there because there are 2 round lenses in the car, and around them, there's supposed to be a border in there. I think if it was on the real car, it'd probably be about 1.5 inches thick surrounding the outside of the flat that your headlights mount on. I'm not going to do that. But I'll put the headlights on. I'm going to keep them in the up position. What I did was I just put a piece of hollow tubing in there, and ran a paper clip through it, and then built up the flats, So that's what they're gonna look like when they're up. Anyway, now that I got that done, I got a bit of time off this week. I'm going to, pretty sure I'm gonna cut open the doors. I think. I used the paper clip. I've got a 32 Ford that I'm working on. Been working on it for a while. It's kind of a very brave project, but I cut open the doors and the trunk, and I've been using the paper clip method and bending it to use the door hinges, but I wanted something a little bit better looking, and I had found a file a long time ago for my printer, and you print trunk hinges. So you see there's the bend. This would go on the inside of the trunk, and then the lid on the bottom of the trunk lid, and then you got the pin right there that would mount, these are small, to one of the little blocks that it's glued onto the body. So I figured I'm going to try those with that. I printed out this one and this set I already had printed a long time ago. This is just standard Elegoo standard gray resin, or I have another kind too, but anyway. So, and these are the doors. So one section will go on the door, one section will go on the frame. I think these will go inside like the frame, like this, or vice versa. And then this will go on the other part, and it'll hinge the door open. It'll be a little cleaner looking than. See if we can get it to. So those are them. I'm gonna use those. This is another set I printed today on the Saturn, just a tiny bit bigger. I think it's like, those are 100%, those trunk hinges here. And this is 110%, just a tiny bit bigger. You put them beside, you can, I don't know if you can see it. A little bit bigger, not much. So I have that. And then I printed some on the Mars with this Tech resin too. I mean, yeah. So I'm gonna use those. I'm gonna hinge the trunk. Yeah. So we got that. That's where I'm at. So this week I'm hoping to have the body in primer and the chassis in primer, the interior too. That's what we're shooting for. Keep our fingers crossed. Something else I'd like to show, once again, while I'm on the subject of 3D printing, and setting up the printer. Printed these. These are 23-inch tires, what they're labeled as, and those are 19s for rally rims for Mopars. I know they never had 19s or 23s in the late 60s and the 70s, but that's what they're labeled as. Somebody made them bigger just so you could put them under different cars. I printed these on the Saturn, 0.05 layer height, and they turned out really well. I really like how they look, tread depth and stuff. I printed the rims though, and I printed them at, different times. I printed the rims, and this is what I got. So these are the 19s, and these are the 23s. Some of the 19s had a film right across them. What I'm going to do though, I'm going to keep them because these centers are still good. So this is what they look like here. Thinking that if I ever make a model in a diorama and the wheels are off, I could put these on the pins for your wheels, and then put a brake disc around them, because they will fit, and paint it all up, and it'll make it look like, make it a little bit more real looking with the tire off, right? So, kind of like that. That's what the thought is. So I'm going to keep those. Why not try to salvage as much as you can? So anyway, those didn't work. So I went over to the other printer, to my Mars, and I used Cheeto Box. And I printed the 19s. That's the backside. That's just, the markings from the... But I hope you can see it, but they turned out really well. They turned out well. I got 4 of them here. The 4th one is right here. So they turned out well. And I printed these at 0.05 layer height too. And I mean, they look good. The thing I did different, I just used auto supports on these ones and on these ones, and obviously I just pointed them flat, you know. But on these ones, I changed the location of the supports. So in between every opening on the outside of the face, on one one of them I'll put the pinhole or the support close to the inside of the outer ring of the rim, and then one closer to the hub for the axle pin. And then on the next one, I'll put it right at the point on the rally rim, so I kind of stagger it 2 1 2 1 all the way around. And then I put I think 5 or 6 on this and 1 inside the hole, and it turned out good. Might be brave and try to redo them on the Saturn. I haven't really set up the Saturn a lot. The Saturn 2, I slowed down the lift speed and all that, so I don't have the peel force, you know, being a big pain in the bum. And I also raised the lift height. That way, you know, you're nice and clear. But I haven't changed any of the, you know, the curing time or anything for any of the layers. That I kind of still have to play around with, but we'll go from there. But yeah, they turned out really well. I'm not going to use them on this model, but I do have future projects I can use them on and stuff. And part of buying the printer is more playing than anything else, right? And for the amount you're actually going to use it. But the engines, there's some really nice engine prints. I've got a Pro stock Hemi and a few other things that files I purchased that I want to print in this Hellcat engine. So I've got a couple of bodies and things like that. So like I said, if you're not right close to a hobby store and all the resin suppliers are in different companies or countries, this is a good way if you got the time and the patience to do it. So that's the update on the under 1,000 subscribers group build so far. It's coming along. The one other thing I wanted to show, this. It's like the chopper, but as you can see, I mean, it's multiple layers. You got to glue it together and you assemble it. It takes about the whole of 10 minutes. And it's laser cut particle board with adjustable guides here, and it's like the chopper with the the razor blade on it. You can see a piece of styrene there. But yeah, I grabbed that because watching tutorials that Mark Batson had about making rads and making his own tube frame or his roll cages and stuff, and it's a good way to get all your angles accurate. But around here, like I said, I have no hobby stores, so I was in Toronto once and I seen a chopper there, and it was $80. And I bought a lot of paint and I bought a couple of model kits. I think I spent $400 or $500, and it was like, do I want to spend another $80? And but I didn't. I said, I'll get it later. I'll get it on Amazon. And then I looked on Amazon. It's $140 on Amazon. And that's insane. I mean, I'm not spending $140, and I'm definitely, with it being $80 in Toronto, I'm not driving 7 hours one way to get it. But I bought this though, and I think it was $20, $19.99 or $24.99, and I get emails from Scale Model Magazine, and they have their Call 'em Back Copy store. This was on there, and it was like crazy cheap. So I picked it up. I mean, there you can see there's the instructions right in the box. And I figured for $20, you can't go wrong. I mean, even if I use it for a couple of years, and then eventually I go back down to Toronto a year, and I find I grab a chopper, then whatever, I can put this in the box and keep it for later, or if I ever know somebody that's building and needs one, I mean, I can give it to them. It's a good starting tool, right? You can't dump all your money into everything. I know lots of people say, spend a lot of money on tools, and I'm a mechanic by trade. I've got a very expensive toolbox full of Snap-on and Mac out in the garage. Good tools are very important to have, but figured this one, I don't use it 100% of the time. For what it does, I think it'll do. I think it'll do just fine. Put more money into, paint and airbrushes and all that good stuff right now. I mean, I don't need to spend a fortune on this, but I did see the need to have one, relatively sooner than later. So that's what I did. I bought that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I've lots of new subscribers have come through, and I've also subscribed to a lot of new channels because of this under 1,000 group build, and the NASCAR group build too. A lot of great channels, a lot of great content, really interesting and neat to see everybody in the community. So, like I said, keep on building your models. It's going great, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.